How did the first half of 2026 go for Russia? What major projects were implemented? How many new factories were built? And what military equipment was delivered to the troops? Let's go over the most important events in our traditional half-year review. On April 30, the newest Soyuz 5 space rocket, equipped with the world's most powerful liquid-fueled rocket engine, was launched for the first time from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. It is capable of delivering 17 tons of payload to low Earth orbit, which is the optimal value for launching medium-class satellites, geostationary satellites, and future crewed missions. For comparison, today's workhorse of domestic space exploration, Soyuz 2.1b, delivers 8 tons into space. At the moment, production of the next 2 units is already underway, with their launch scheduled for 2027. On May 12, there was another significant launch of the newest heavy liquid-fueled intercontinental ballistic missile, Sarmat. According to the disclosed information, its range may exceed 35,000 kilometers, and the total yield of its warhead is more than 4 times greater than that of the most deadly Western models. In the future, a converted version of this missile will also be able to launch satellites into orbit. At the same time, the formation of the Russian commercial system Rassvet began in space, with the first 16 satellites successfully launched into orbit in March. It will provide independent and secure communications for the Russian army and the civilian sector. Also in February, state trials of the Mirror complex for the new large telescope, which will become part of the Altai Experimental Laser Center, named after German Titov, were successfully completed in Russia. The trials lasted almost a year and confirmed that the images of space objects obtained with the telescope significantly surpassed all existing domestic counterparts in terms of detail. And this is a significant achievement because there are only 3 complexes of this class operating in the world, and all of them belong to the United States. Our telescope is capable of tracking the smallest space objects in near-Earth space at distances of up to 3,500 kilometers, which makes it an important part of the national defense system. At the beginning of the year, the first Russian ice-class gas tanker began its maiden delivery under the harsh conditions of the Northern Sea route, and in June, the second vessel of the same project was already put into operation. Thus, Russia has confirmed its ability to build ships in series, which are available to only a few countries in the world. The complexity of their design and production lies not only in the need to create a reinforced steel hull, but also in the highest requirements for the special membrane tank used to transport LNG. It is a sandwich made of metal alloys and composite panels, which prevent the leakage of liquefied gas even under conditions of compression and rough seas. At the end of May, the first RITM-200S reactor unit was manufactured at the ZIO Ziopodolsk plant. It is intended for the lead nuclear floating power unit, PEP-106, which is currently under construction. This is a new service not only for Russia, but also for the entire global energy sector, since no one else is building such mobile nuclear power plants, although attempts are being made. Let's also recall the important news of the Navy. The modernized nuclear missile cruiser Admiral Nakhimov, the most heavily armed ship in the world, has entered the final stage of testing. After the upgrade, it can now carry 80 anti-ship missiles, including hypersonic Zircon missiles, up from 20. The nuclear submarine Leopard of the Shchuka-B project has also been modernized and now carries 80 naval missiles. Cruise missiles caliber and can use them, including with an enhanced nuclear warhead. The submarine is completing its trials and will soon be handed over to the fleet. Meanwhile, at Sevmash, the multi-purpose nuclear-powered submarine cruiser Murmansk of the Yasin M project was laid down. It will become the 9th missile carrier in the series. The lead nuclear submarine Kazan was commissioned into the Navy in 2021, and it is precisely the submarines of this project that are becoming the backbone of Russia's underwater strike power. At the same time, the 9th frigate of Project 22,350, Admiral of the Fleet Gromov, was laid down at the Severnaya Verf shipyard. Such ships are needed, among other things, to escort the Russian merchant fleet and to protect against piracy from so-called civilized Western countries. And at the Shredninevsky shipbuilding plant, the 16th minesweeper of Project 12,700 Alexandrite was laid down. The war against Iran proved the special importance of such ships. The Americans faced major problems because on the eve of their unprovoked aggressive invasion of the Islamic Republic, they had reduced their own fleet of minesweepers, scrapping them for savings. That's why they don't have enough resources to clear mines from the Hormuz Strait. Flight tests of the upgraded K-226T helicopter have begun. Previously, it had a foreign engine and avionics, but now, for the first time, it is taken to the air with the Russian VK650V engine. This is our first engine that fills the highly demanded niche of light helicopters with a takeoff weight of up to 4 tons. But it will also be installed on Yak-1 152 training aircraft and heavy unmanned aerial vehicles. Flight tests began a little earlier, with the light single-engine multi-purpose helicopter Mi-34M1 also being tested for the first time with the VK650V engine. The first serial production Mi-171A and Mi-171A3 naval helicopters have started being delivered to customers. They are also entirely from the VK2500 PS-03 engine to the tip of the composite blades, designed and manufactured in Russia. For the first time, the new 2-seat modification of the famous Su-57D fighter took to the skies. In addition to military tasks in this configuration, it will also serve as a combat trainer aircraft and an airborne command post. There has also been a long-awaited breakthrough in civil aviation. The new regional turboprop aircraft IL-114-300 has received its certification. The light multi-purpose aircraft Baikal has moved on to the certification testing stage. The PD-8 engine has been certified, which brings the Superjet's certification much closer. The certification of the import-substituted Superjet 100 for which this engine was created is being completed. Ground tests have also been completed and flight tests are beginning for the UTS-800 training aircraft with the Russian VK-800 SP turboprop engine. The third stage of modernization of the Eastern Polygon, which includes the Baikal-Amur and Trans-Siberian railways, has begun. As part of this, backup facilities will be built at the narrowest and most congested sections. And also, the highly complex second Severo-Muisky tunnel, with a length of more than 15 kilometers, will be constructed. The largest main coal conveyor in Russia has started operating in the Sakhalin region. A closed-type conveyor belt, 23 kilometers long, has connected the coal mine with the seaport of Shakhtarsk. On the Don River in the Rostov region, the first hydroelectric complex since the Soviet era has been built, an important facility as part of the strategic unified deep water system of the European part of the country. It will improve the navigability of the problematic 85-kilometer section on the lower Don and make it accessible for large tonnage vessels. At the Kursk nuclear power plant, too, the most powerful power unit in Russia has been launched, featuring a Viver toy reactor installation with an electric capacity of 1,253 megawatts. We have started building the first nuclear power plants in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. In the Amur region, a new passenger terminal of the Blagoveshchensk International Airport has been opened, and in Karachay-Cherkessia, construction of the new Arkiz Airport has begun. In just 6 months, about 150 major new manufacturing facilities have been opened in the country. Let's list them all. Briefly, in chronological order, right after a short announcement. On March 27, 1941, when Hitler had already planned the attack on the Soviet Union, the Serbs suddenly rose up in Yugoslavia and overthrew their government, which had decided to form an alliance with Germany. The Germans responded decisively and, taking advantage of their total military superiority, struck the country, quickly capturing and dismembering it. The uprising lasted only 2 weeks, but it forced the Nazis to postpone their attack on the USSR from May 15 to June 22 because the fuel reserves intended for Operation Barbarossa had been used up, and the mechanized units needed resupply and repairs after marching through the Yugoslav mountains. It might seem that we only got a small delay, but it allowed the Soviet leadership to reinforce the Red Army with 800,000 reservists and transfer 5 armies to the border districts, which soon played an invaluable role in stopping the Blitzkrieg at the Battle of Smolensk, and overall prevented the Nazis from ending the war before the first cold weather, as they had originally planned. Who knows? Maybe in 2026, Iran's decisive resistance to its enemies has already changed the course of history. After all, Russia is not wasting a single day and is doing everything to prevent a new Barbarossa plan. What is our general strategy on the Western Front? Why is time more important for us now than a quick victory? Why do the actions of Russian news outlets stop seeming strange if you know this strategy? I break it down in a special analytical episode at sponsor.ru/super. Next up are all the positive news stories from the first half of the year. The new multifunctional emergency rescue icebreaker ship Kerchensky Proliv has joined the Maritime rescue fleet. The first new power unit of Kursk Nuclear Power Plant 2 with a VV Air-Toy reactor has been connected to the Unified Energy System of Russia. The Vostochny Cosmodrome has been connected to the largest substation in the Far East, Amurskaya, and thus has received a second source of power. The first Russian large-capacity LNG carrier, Alexei Kosygin, has set off on its maiden voyage along the Northern Sea Route to operate as part of the Arctic LNG 2 project. Flight tests have begun for the light single-engine multi-purpose helicopter Mi-34M1, equipped with the latest VK6 50V engine. The largest Russian CubeSat, Scorpion, in the 16-unit format, has been successfully launched into orbit and brought under control. Scientists from the Russian Quantum Center have presented and assembled the first Ion Quantum Kit, a computer based on qubits, a quantum system operating with 7 quantum state levels at once. A domestic laser counter-drone system has, for the first time, destroyed an FPV drone at a distance of 1 kilometer during testing. For the first time in the world, Russia has monitored Antarctica using a UAV via an over-the-horizon communication channel at a distance of about 14,000 kilometers. Testing has begun for Russia's first driverless Moskva 2024 metro train. Production has started for the new KAMAZ 65956K5 generation semi-truck. The traction asynchronous motor for the first Russian high-speed train has successfully passed acceptance tests. The Kodkinsky ship repair plant has launched the Karaginsky Zaliv trawler. The Leningrad plant has manufactured the second Russian high-power gas turbine for the new combined heat and power plant in the Far East. At the collider Nika, a particle beam has completed a full circle for the first time and is now circulating stably, bringing the start of experiments closer. The Russian orbital telescope Spectre RG has completed its 6-year scientific program and continues to operate. Rosatom has developed the first domestic modular inverter for solar power plants. Another batch of IMR-3M engineering vehicles has been sent to the troops by Rosatom. The Kalashnikov concern has started production of an improved version of the PPK-20 submachine gun. The High Precision Systems Holding Company has developed and produced the first batches of multi-projectile cartridges for countering drones. In St. Petersburg, the keel has been laid for the 20-gun brig Phoenix, a replica of a historic ship being built for cadet training. The first production passenger vessel of Project F2 has been laid down. In Moscow, tests of the new unmanned boat have been successfully completed. The Tver Carriage Works has manufactured components for the first hydrogen train. The first equipment in Russia for producing integrated circuits with 65 nanometer design rules has been developed. The first batch of the latest automated Zuber systems for protection against drones has been delivered to the troops. At the Amur Gas Chemical Complex, the world's largest compressor for processing hydrocarbon feedstock has been successfully started up. New electrolyzers have been put into operation at the plant of the Siberian Chemical Combine of Rosatom. Russian railways conducted successful emergency mode tests of the contact network for the future high-speed railway. The first modernized ground station for Special Forces communication is built using satellites. Production of components for ventilation systems has been launched in Novosibirsk. There is a fish farm in the Kaliningrad region. In the Vladimir region, there is a dairy complex. Russian scientist Ivan Remezov has solved one of the eternal problems in mathematics in the field of differential equations, which the best minds in the world have been working on for 190 years. In the Kaliningrad region, in the new industrial cluster of Avtotor, a traction electric motor plant, a car seat plant, an electronic control systems plant, a plastic parts plant, an equipment and tooling plant, as well as a compact electric car plant have been opened. The Chelyabinsk Construction and Road Machines Enterprise has produced a prototype of a new 24-ton bulldozer. A research and production center for unmanned aerial systems has been opened in the Orenburg region. In Yoshkar Ola, there is production of multi-layer printed circuit boards. In the Saratov region, a specialized line for the production of polymer composites has been launched. In Chuvashia, the first full-cycle wood processing plant has opened, and in Podolsk, there is packaging production. The Soyuz 2.1B launch vehicle with spacecraft of the Ministry of Defense has successfully launched from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome. The Proton-M launch vehicle has successfully launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Another batch of Su-57 aircraft has been delivered to the troops. Troops received another delivery of BMP-3 infantry fighting vehicles. The United Engine Corporation has presented the new M105 piston engine for small aircraft. Production of the naval version of the Tor M2 KM anti-aircraft missile system for Russian Navy ships has started in Izhevsk. The Kalashnikov concern has started mass production of the modernized 9mm SR-2M submachine gun. Auto component production has been launched in the Vladimir region, a titanium billet plant has opened in the Sverdlovsk region, and cryogenic equipment production has begun in the Leningrad region. Another batch of Gyatsin-K self-propelled artillery systems has been delivered to the troops. Russian scientists at FIAN have demonstrated a 70-qubit quantum computer based on an ion chain. At the Ural Locomotives plant, the welding of the bodies of the main motor car and the second non-motor car of the first Russian high-speed train has been completed. An axle plant for KAMAZ trucks has opened in Naberezhny Chelny. In Skolkovo, there is production of electric motors for UAVs. In Saratov, the first production facility in Russia for components made of refractory metals for the space industry has been established. Moscow is producing gearless winches. The Moscow region is producing military field uniforms. In Dagestan, there is production of bucket-type hydroturbines for small hydroelectric power plants. In Primorsky Krai, there is a fish processing plant. Uralvagonzavod has delivered another batch of armored repair and recovery vehicles, Brem 80, to the troops. The Russian Ministry of Emergency Situations has received a batch of Mi-38PS helicopters for operations in the Arctic. The third flight prototype of the LMS-901BS Baikal aircraft has made its first test flight. Another RSD-59 project dry cargo ship has been laid down at the Krasnaya Sormova plant. A large fluorite deposit with reserves of more than 5 million tons has been discovered in Zabaikalsky Krai. The largest oil field in the past 30 years has been discovered in Yamal. At the Mosvich plant, assembly of new electric and hybrid vehicles of the Umo brand has begun. In Voronezh, agricultural machinery is being produced. In Tatarstan, refrigeration equipment is being produced. In Bashkiria, there is a packaging plant. In the Nizhny Novgorod region, a Meteor project 03580 passenger hydrofoil vessel has been laid down. In the Leningrad region, there are fishing vessels of Project 200-101. At Baikonur, the service cabin for carrier rockets has been fully restored after the accident on November 27, 2025. In the Kursk region, production of automotive bearings has been launched. In the Sverdlovsk region, there is production of fuel tanks and small propulsion units for rockets. At the Tikhvin railcar plant, production of a new generation of open freight cars has started. In Moscow, production of computer components has been launched. In the Vladimir region, there is production of medical devices. In Dagestan, the largest solar power plant in the region. Russian school children won 2 gold and 2 silver medals at the 17th International Mathematics Olympiad in Bucharest. At the Zelenodolsk shipyard, the third tugboat of the T-3153D project has been launched. In Yelabuga, assembly of prototypes of the updated Aurus Senate sedan has begun. At BAM, machine vision technology for locomotives has been successfully tested. In Nizhnevertovsk, production of specialized equipment for repeated oil and gas extraction has been launched. In the Omsk region, there is production of gas engine fuel. In Tatarstan, there is production of components for electric submersible pumps. In Mozhaisk, there is one of the most modern sandwich panel production lines in Russia. In Zelenograd, there is a plant for translucent structures and modular facades. In the Sverdlovsk region, there is production of binders and resins. In Udmurtia, there are 2 dairy farms. In Novosibirsk, serial production of the multi-purpose bomber drone Vorobay-15 has started. The Moscow Innovation Cluster has launched Russia's first full-cycle testing center for robotics and unmanned systems. In Moscow, a microchip assembly and testing center has been opened. In Izhevsk, there is production of electronic modules for telecommunications equipment. In St. Petersburg, a refrigerator factory previously owned by Bosch has been relaunched. In Omsk, a domestic isophorone production facility replacing imports has been opened. In the Samara region, there is production of mastics and adhesives for the automotive industry. In the Ivanovo region, there is a metalworking facility. In Udmurtia, there is a building materials production plant. In the Rostov region, there is an oil extraction plant. The Soyuz 2.1, a launch vehicle, successfully lifted off from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Another batch of Panzer S anti-aircraft missile and gun systems has been delivered to the troops. 3 RSD-34L project dry cargo ships have been laid down in the Samara region. A titanium products plant has been opened in the Sverdlovsk region. In Kemerovo, a plant for the production of bioprosthetic heart valves for surgery has been opened. In the Smolensk region, there is a flax processing plant. In Ulyanovsk, there is an automobile seat manufacturing facility. In the Astrakhan region, there is a production facility for synthetic woven materials. In Dubna, there is a cosmetics manufacturing plant. In the Moscow region, there is a food production facility. The Soyuz 2.1, a launch vehicle, successfully lifted off from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome in the interests of the Ministry of Defense. A universal armored engineering vehicle has entered service with the engineering troops. At the Okskaya shipyard, a Krabilov of Project 5712 LS was launched. In the Altai Republic, the first autonomous Russian shuttle L-5, based on artificial intelligence technology, has started operating. In the Volgograd region, Soyuz has launched the production of Nexad all-terrain vehicles. Solars has launched the production of 6-speed manual transmissions for light commercial vehicles. Production of medicines for 13 types of cancer has begun in Moscow. Production of building structures has been launched in the Moscow region. In the Kemerovo region, the second ball rolling complex has been put into operation. A welding robot plant has been opened in the Kaliningrad region. Russian school children became winners of the Inventors competition in China. The fourth passenger catamaran of Project 04710 has been launched at the Srednye shipyard. 3 crab catchers of Project 03141 have been laid down at the Nakodka ship repair yard. The tests of the motor bogie frame for the first Russian high-speed electric train have been completed. Tests of a prototype plasma engine for deep space flights have begun at the National Research Center Kurchatov Institute. The galvanic shop has been modernized at the Komsomolsk Aviation plant. The Cherepovets metallurgical plant has launched a new foundry complex. Serial production of snow compaction machines has started in Chelyabinsk, and a production line for turbine housing parts has been launched. Production of tools for CNC machines has been launched in Sverdlovsk region. In the Moscow region, there is a large cardboard production facility and a breeding complex. The Soyuz 2.1B launch vehicle successfully lifted off from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome and placed Ministry of Defense satellites into orbit. Another batch of Su-35S fighter jets has been delivered to the troops. In the Astrakhan region, construction has begun on a plant for the production of marine and industrial engines. The first laboratory in the world for the development and research of palladium-based materials has opened in Moscow. The tests of the new work and rescue suit for the Navy have been completed. The former Caterpillar plant has resumed operations in the Leningrad region. In Moscow, production of equipment for the energy complex and the first Russian microfocus X-ray devices has been launched. In Kursk, the production of technical fabrics has been doubled. A construction components plant has been opened in St. Petersburg. In the Novosibirsk region, there is a plant for the production of sandwich panels. In Mordovia, there is a lighting factory. In the Smolensk region, there is a large coffee plant. The Angara 1.2 launch vehicle successfully lifted off from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome and placed Ministry of Defense satellites into orbit. At the Krasnaya Sormova plant, another RSD-59 project dry cargo ship was launched. At the Vostoknaya shipyard, a fishing vessel of Project 03141 was launched. An automobile engine plant has been opened in Kaluga. In the Tula region, a polymer production plant complex has been established. In Perm, the production of the core for an underwater fiber optic cable has begun. A production line for UAV printed circuit boards has been launched in Khabarovsk. One of the largest complexes of enterprises for the production of building materials in Russia has been opened in Zelenograd. In Tatarstan, there is production of trailer equipment units. In the Irkutsk region, there is a rapeseed oil plant. Russian school children won 7 gold medals at the International Mendeleev Chemistry Olympiad. The newest Soyuz 5 launch vehicle successfully lifted off from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. The Soyuz 2.1, a launch vehicle with a cargo spacecraft, successfully lifted off from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. At Kursk NPP-2, the most powerful innovative power unit in Russia, equipped with a VVR toy reactor installation and an electric capacity of 1,253 megawatts, has been put into operation. The physical startup of the first power unit built by Rosatom at the Rupert NPP has taken place. At the Srednye shipbuilding plant, the 16th minesweeper of Project 12,700 Alexandrite has been laid down. Production of azimuth thrusters has been launched in the Nizhny Novgorod region. Production of gear transmissions for metalworking machines has been launched in the Chelyabinsk region. The company Octava DM has opened a new factory for the production of audio devices in Tula. The largest ice cream factory in Russia has been opened in the Saratov region. Russian school children won 8 gold and 4 silver medals at the Informatics Olympiad in Bulgaria. Another Valde 45R hydrofoil vessel has been launched in Nizhny Novgorod. In the Leningrad region, an electric vessel of the Moskva 2.0 project. At the Onega plant, a spoil removal vessel has been laid down. In the Leningrad region, a tugboat of Project 16,609. In Moscow, a production line for 3D printers for metal printing has been opened. In the Nizhny Novgorod region, a complex for the production of thermoplastic films. In the Sverdlovsk region, a building materials plant. In Tatarstan, 2 facilities for the production of materials for utility networks have been opened. Russian school children won 4 gold medals at the 2nd International Biology Olympiad in Uzbekistan. Another batch of T-90M ProRiv, T-80 BVM, and T-72 B3M tanks has been delivered to the troops. The set of certification tests for the newest PD-8 aircraft engine has been completed. Another small missile ship, Burya, of Project 2280-00, has joined the Navy. Another electric vessel has been launched in St. Petersburg, of the Moskva 2.0 project. KAMAZ has adapted its 13-liter diesel engine for use on ships instead of the Volvo equivalent. The Kalashnikov concern has presented Russia's first sliding head automatic lathe, the ISH Caliber 20. A new power unit has been commissioned at the Krasnoyarsk CHP-1 in Nizhny Novgorod. A production facility for automotive press molds has been opened. In Yekaterinburg, large format glass production. In Moscow, production of medical compression products. In St. Petersburg, production of orthopedic products. In Udmurtia, there is a robotic dairy farm. Flight tests have begun for the first 2-seat multifunctional 5th-generation fighter jet, the Su-57D. At the Severnaya shipyard, the Project 22,350 frigate Admiral of the Fleet Gromov has been laid down. In the Leningrad region, 2 more electric vessels have been launched. As part of the Moscow 2.0 project, 2 EM-901L electric vessels have been laid down in Moscow. In Ryazan, a second line for the production of geotextiles has been launched. In Moscow, computer equipment is being produced. In Crimea, there is a plant for thermal and sound insulation materials. At the Smolensk packaging plant, a new production line has been launched. In Perm, a new blood plasma processing line has been launched. In Tatarstan, there is a large grain terminal. Another batch of multifunctional Su-35S fighter jets has been delivered to the troops. In the Nizhny Novgorod region, 2 high-speed Meteor 120R hydrofoil passenger vessels have been launched. At the Balakovo shipbuilding and ship repair plant, a Project RSD-60 dry cargo vessel has been launched. At the Sokolskaya shipyard, a torpedo recovery boat has been launched. The first cross-border unmanned cargo transportation from Russia to Kazakhstan has been carried out. At the former Toyota plant in St. Petersburg, production of the first car of the new Russian premium brand, Esteo, has been launched. Chepetsky Mechanical Plant has launched the production of components for small-scale nuclear power plants. A robotics manufacturing plant has opened in Nizhny Novgorod. In Dagestan, a production line for energy-saving glass has been launched. A full production cycle of a vital oncology drug has been launched in Podolsk. Russian school children won 12 medals at the Open International Biology Olympiad. Another batch of modernized BMD-2S with the Berig combat module has been delivered to the troops. Another project, RSD-59 dry cargo ship, has been laid down at the Krasnoye Sormovo plant. The first 4 electric vessels of the Moskva 1.0 project have been launched in Moscow. In St. Petersburg, production of cars under the new brand CNOT 900 has started. The Irkutsk tracked vehicle plant has started mass production of the MR2 skid-steer all-terrain vehicle on low-pressure tires. Large-scale production of generators for Lada cars has been launched in Tolyatti. A new section for the production of large-size mushroom shafts has been launched at the Medmash plant. In Tatarstan, there is a high-voltage equipment testing center. A large dairy farm has been opened in the Ryazan region. Russian school children won 4 gold and 4 silver medals at the Asian Physics Olympiad in South Korea. The first newest serial, Mi-171, A3 helicopters have been delivered to the Russian customer. The Tor M2KM air defense system for the Navy has successfully passed combat testing in the Special Military Operations Zone and has entered serial production. In Samara, the lead passenger catamaran Sirius Alpha of Project 04790 has been launched. The Kodkinski Ship Repair Plant has launched a crab fishing vessel of Project 03141. The first serial production of airbags and other automotive systems has been launched in Ulyanovsk. A new production facility for industrial robots and automated transport systems has opened in St. Petersburg. Silicon and silicon magnesium fertilizers are produced in the Orenburg region. In Dagestan, the first governor's mountain solar power plant has been launched. In Chechnya, the first factory for the production of facade marble has opened. In the Moscow region, there is production of compound feed. At Sevmash, the keel-laying ceremony for the nuclear submarine Murmansk of the Yasen M project took place. Rosselmash has launched mass production of the most powerful forage harvester, the RSM F2750. Production of the new 5-seat version of the Tennet T8 crossover has started in Kaluga. The winter dredger Rhino 25 has been launched in Khabarovsk. Production of medical equipment and onboard lighting systems for aviation has been launched in Moscow. A pharmaceutical production facility has been opened in the Moscow region. In Primorsky Krai, there is industrial gas production. In the Urals, there is metal rolling production. In the Ivanovo region, there is industrial steam boiler production. In the Leningrad region, there is silicon production. In Dagestan, there is a plant for the production of mounting foam and a rice processing plant.
That means it's your turn.
It's Russia's time!
Time for achievements! Time to move forward! This is the time! Our time! We've waited a long time! Here it is!
Our time!
It's come! Your move, push forward!
You overcame?
Overcame. You overcame your fear and doubts.